Hey, what's up? It's the Trick here. I was coming back with another Monster Hunter Wilds build video. I had a person request in the comments to show the build that I'd used on the Omega, the Savage Omega Clear for the Dual Blade set. And I figured I'd throw it out there for anybody who might be struggling or just need a little build suggestion for the fight, because it can be a rather annoying fight. I tried it with several different weapons, and I found that I just enjoyed, I like dual blades, but I found that I liked them a lot for that fight because a lot of his ground AoEs are just too big to roll out of, and they're hard, if not impossible, to block with any blocking weapon. Because I tried it with dual blades, with bow, and with sword and shield. So I found bow is really good, but I kind of had difficulty because his legs and his head are the only weak point, and his legs are so small that it's really easy to miss. His head is kind of dangerous because he has a lot of forward thrusting attacks that, like on his charge forward attacks, they're too big to perfect dodge, and his laser beam is too big to perfect dodge without winding up right back in it and just getting hit by it anyway. So I just found that bow didn't feel good. Sword and shield was okay, but I found that I was taking a whole lot of damage because a lot of the ground fire AoEs I just could not get out of range of, stuff like that. So I kind of settled on dual blades, but I'll kind of go over the video I had done. So my dual blades I had made before, kind of a adrenaline rush type, but I kind of went with that and just kind of tweaked it for survivability, because I found a few things like Omega's laser beam. Like if you manage to survive it, which usually is a one shot on Savage, but if you have something like a Defender Meal, which I would recommend, or you're running Divine Blessing, if it procs, then you can survive it, but it will, like, I think it's 100% stun rate. So if you're not running stun res, you will be stunned. He will hit you with a follow up and you will die. So I kind of swapped it up to have stun res, and I swapped out all of my weakness exploit for latent power. Like, I'm not 100%, but and if you didn't know, his back legs, especially in first phase, his back legs take like 40 to 50% more damage than his front legs do. So you really want to focus back legs, but I don't think they're actually a weak point, because I didn't seem to be activating weakness exploit at all. So I swapped it out for latent power, and it seemed to give a little bit more consistent damage, because I think the only part of him that will actually proc weakness exploit is his head. So if you're focusing back legs, you're just getting absolutely no benefit. I mean, don't hold me to that. I don't know 100%, but that's just kind of where I wound up feeling most comfortable. But this is what I swapped up to. I did make a pretty decent set of RDN Thunder. I would heavily recommend running Thunder because it does make quite a bit of difference. I didn't exactly test it, but I feel like I was doing about 20%, 15 to 20% extra damage by running an element as opposed to running paralysis, what I was originally running. So, I mean, that extra 15 to 20%, it might not have been quite that much, but it was a noticeable difference, at least 10%. But that's enough to kind of push you over the edge of beating that 35-minute timer that you have on the Savage Hunt. What I usually run is crit boost, crit eye, because dual blades kind of suffer from a lack of crit eye, a lack of affinity, because it's hard to consistently keep something like maximum might up, or your latent power is just kind of on a timer. But usually Omega hits so hard that if you take a hit, it automatically procs latent power, because it does go by how much HP you lose. So it is kind of more consistent in that fight than it is others. And I found that I like to run Razor Sharp level 3 with a Thunder on the third slot, just because Razor, like I said, his back legs didn't seem to be proccing weakness exploits. So like Master's Touch wasn't working quite so well. I was losing sharpness way faster than when I swapped to Razor Sharp. If you didn't know, like I'm sure everybody knows, sharpness is a damage modifier. When you drop from white to blue, you lose like 10-15% damage. So the longer you can stay in white, it's just a more damage up time. As far as the dual blades, I got an okay roll. They're not great. I mean, I got 2 affinity, 1 attack, 2 sharpness. Would have been better if I got another affinity, another attack or something. It got the job done, so I can't really complain. As far as decos go and the build, I stick with the 2-piece. Let me get back out of that. I like to stick with the 2-piece gore, the head, I know a lot of people don't run the head and chest, but I really like the level 3 evade window, because a lot of times on dual blades on that perfect evade, if you're not, I've noticed for me, if I'm not running evade window, my perfect evade will still allow me to take chip damage through it. And Omega, you take a lot of chip damage. So that level 3 evade window just kind of keeps that from happening. It gives me enough evasion window that I don't take so much chip damage. Because on dual blades, if you put your dual blades up to heal, you lose the buff from your blades, so the perfect dodge was basically for nothing if you have to put it up and heal, because it automatically removes it. I really hope Capcom fixes that in the future. I think that's the only thing holding dual blades back from being, one of the top weapons in the game. But anyway, I run 2-piece gore for the, I can't even think it, for the Frenzy, to have Frenzy on you, and because when you recover from it, it's 25% more affinity, which dual blades need affinity. And then swapped it up to have 2-piece Saragios, just because I really like the Adrenaline Rush playstyle. It goes well with the dodging. It actually gives you one more spot of evade window, so you're at level 4 evade window, so it's super comfy, with 2 Adrenaline Rush, 1 Agitator. And I swapped over to running the Arch-Tempered Radal legs just because of the stun resistance. Like I said, if you get stunned in that fight, you're dead. And I found that I really liked Stamina Surge, because I could pop out of demon mode and my stamina would regen so much faster. It was less downtime. And in that fight, if you can't perfect evade, if you can't dodge, you're probably going to die. Now, I will admit I was kind of lazy. I didn't go out and farm a new charm for this. I'm just running the level 3 latent power. I don't know if you can get level 3 latent power or the ability to make one that would be better. If you had a better talisman, you could definitely get more out of the build. But like I said, I just had it, and I was too lazy to go out and farm a bunch of random crap to get some talismans, so here we are. I found that I really like the Mending Mantle in it, because I can chunk it on first phase and really just not use up my resources. I found that was another thing that was making me lose a lot of time with Omega. Like, if I didn't faint, then by the time I got to second, especially third phase, I was having to travel back to camp to restock because I had consumed so much of my healing supplies. So I found I really like this because it's a fairly long fight. Usually you get 2 to 3 uses out of the mantle per fight, and it will heal you for quite a duration, like 80 seconds. You basically can take about as much damage as you want to and heal right through it within reason. As far as jewels, this build really doesn't have a lot of room for decos, but I wound up going level 3 counter strat to get that full Adrenaline Rush. I got 1 level of physique in there. I did find that I really like running adaptability to keep from having to worry about cool drink, because like I said, dual blades are very stamina dependent, and if you in middle of fight, if your hot drink wears off and you start having a slower stamina regen, you either have to re-up it or you wind up risking a faint because you're without stamina. I just found like that's just super comfy, just not have to worry about it. Chunk it on there and just fight the fight, you know what I mean? Other than that, we got 3 Sane Jewels for get that extra 15% and quicker recovery of the Frenzy Virus. And as always, through 1 Chain Jewel for 1 level of burst in there, but that way we're getting, I think it's a flat 8 raw and 40 elemental for running the 1, so you get best bang for your buck running elemental dual blades on it. But that's basically it for the build. Like I said, I just swapped up a little bit on it to tweak a little more damage because he is weak to thunder, to get that survivability. And I mean, the damage output is still very respectable. I won't bother activating none of the skills. I have to build up some meter here. As you see, even without, even without any of our other stuff like our latent power, any of that active, which I think it is actually active right at the moment, we very respectable damage output. Like I said, I got the job done. I think I cleared it in 26 minutes. Possibly could have done it better. I would highly recommend using the support hunters because I don't know that I don't know that I know I couldn't clear it in 35 minutes without the Sport Hunters. I did it in 26 with them. There ain't no way I would have done it without. But that's it. I was just going to go over the build. Go back to the equipment right here, right quick, for anyone who wants to screenshot it. That is, but yeah, I mean, that's what I wound up clearing it with. And out of everything I run, it's the most comfy thing I found, as far as, you know, as long as your evade timing is fairly decent, and with level 4 evade window, you kind of have a little wiggle room to screw up. And you just learn to fight a little bit, learn what attacks you do not want to get caught in, like the laser beam. And other than that, this build will get the job done with relative ease. I don't think I fainted a single time I cleared it, and I was not doing perfect at all. That's it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or missed anything, leave it in the comments. If you like the content, click that sub button. Man, I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out. And as always, thanks for watching.